Hello and welcome to our second video as part of our Malting Barley series of agronomy videos. The focus this week will be on weed control and aphid control for spring malting barley crops. There's a large variation in crop development this year across the region as sowing dates were varied from beginning of March up until mid-April. The majority of crops, however, were drilled in that mid-March timing, and these crops are now approaching the four-leaf stage or start of tillering, and therefore it is the ideal timing for the herbicide to be applied. Other crops that were later sown are now approaching that two-leaf stage, and aphid control will be most important for these crops.
Teagasc research has shown that spring barley crops that emerge before mid-April do not require an application of insecticide for aphid control. If crops emerging after mid-April or in a high-risk area such as coastal sites, an insecticide should be applied at the 2 to 3 leaf stage of crop growth for effective control. Given the majority of crops this year emerge before mid-April, insecticide will only be required to be applied to later drilled April crops. Weed control in spring malting barley should ideally be completed at the 4-leaf stage of crop growth or the start of tillering, as this will give best control. However, it is also important to ensure that herbicides are applied during good growing conditions, with good growing conditions for 3 to 4 days post-application also, as this will alleviate stress on the barley plant and also improve the efficacy of the herbicide applied. If temperatures are too low for adequate growth, like we are currently experiencing, weed control can be postponed until the mid-tillering stage and applied along with the T1 fungicide. It should be noted, however, that weeds will be more difficult to control at this stage and higher rates of herbicide may be required. This slide gives an indication of some of the herbicides available for broadleaf weed control and the rates that can be used. Also listed are the scenarios where they might be used within field situations. Before deciding on what herbicide to use, the weeds that are present within the field should be identified. By doing this, a herbicide can be chosen that will give best control for the weeds that are present within the crop.
So in summary, insecticides should be applied to a spring malting barley crop where the spring barley is emerging from mid-April on or in high-risk scenarios. For effective weed control, apply the herbicide at the 4-leaf stage of crop growth and when the crop is actively growing. Also, aim to try and leave 4 good days of good growth post herbicide application to avoid stress on the crop. And finally, assess the field and identify the target weeds that need to be killed and choose a herbicide that is best suited for killing these weeds.